Versus Ever8. Ever8 will be on the blue side to start. What are we looking at here, Crumbs?
Looking at some major advantages for Keen here. If I'm Ever8, I'm looking to get Roach as abused as possible. No nuclear weapons are necessary to get rid of cockroaches. We all know how the apocalypse ends with roaches, so making sure that you go with picks like Camille, the Jaxes, the Jaces, the Renekton's even. Get Keen ahead, transition from the top lane, snowball with a split pusher. They've been able to do it before. I think they might be able to pull it off again here. Let's hope they practice that strategy, and the Kongdoo monster can also put up a fight.
There's no champion in the game that's like a technical, futuristic genius, right? Is that Heimerdinger? Victor, that's it. Yeah, okay. Never mind.
Did your point just fall flat?
I was thinking, you know, what if there was a champion that had a nuke? There is no champion. Victor just has Chaos Storm.
I guess Veigar ultimate counts as a nuke for how much damage it does.
I guess. But I'm talking about like a real nuke.
Cho ultimate is like
there's
3,
like a timer.
2, 1. Deletion.
Well, chomp.
Okay, and the Elise goes away. So Elise also ties into the theme of assisting top lane carries. The best champion at doing so, as you can camp a lane like no other. But with no top lane bans coming out yet, I think that we might just get to see the early building blocks of the compositions and then those champions saved for later, as going with those rotations of picks early on. It's a little bit too obvious. And is that MC?
Yeah, that's MC. I'm surprised you knew who he was.
Yeah. It's a StarCraft
2 legend, Protoss player. Multiple championships, extremely aggressive player, lots of experience around the world, and after he retired from StarCraft 2, he wanted to move into coaching, moved on to League of Legends, a bigger game, and here he is.
One of the best trash talkers, too.
Oh, yeah. I love MC. He's part of the reason why I really got into esports, actually. And he ended up here.
In the relegation
we all
match
ended up here
as the second place team. We're all in this together. We all float down here.
Yeah.
So the Rakan gets taken out by Ever8 as their first rotation, but curiously enough, Kongdoo banned out Xayah as well. So perhaps thinking that Ever8 was just going to take that champion right away. But Xayah has been Seoul's most played champion this split by a huge margin, which is why it's slightly surprising to see that it gets taken out, because his, Seoul has 4 games of Kog'Maw, right? He's got 4 games of Tristana. He's got 18 games of Xayah.
18 games.
That's a heap and helping of Xayah.
And he's like, nah, not today. And Triss will go over to Ever8.
Okay, now what tanks are going to be taken? What kind of jungler? You got the Jarvan. I think the Jarvan is a really good pick for Malrang. He wasn't so comfortable on the Gragas in the LCK.
I want to see it.
And the Jarvan is better at being aggressive early on, especially if you want to go with a creative jungle route. He does have many other champions in the duel, and here we go. This is exactly what we were looking for. Taliyah gets locked in. Bam. You already know that Ever8 is going for a split pushing top lane. This is basically having a Twisted Fate on your team. You're going to be able to influence the side lanes like no other. And Roach is going to be left alone, so they need to prop him on a very safe champion if they want to be doing this. And having already a protected Kog'Maw composition doesn't set you up to defend your own top lane because you lack engage. You can't make plays when the other team is on the side lanes doing whatever shenanigans they want to do.
Look at Janna's ear. I didn't realize she was an elf. Did you know that, Grumps?
Yeah.
You've been playing this game for a while.
Yeah. We saw her twice in games 2 and 3 of the previous series.
I didn't notice until now.
Yes, she is an elf.
Okay.
And Jace is banned, so
you learn something new every day.
Carries. I think Jax might be taken out as well, but you still have Camille. And here we go. The tank bans as well from Ever. This is where it gets really interesting. What is Keen willing to play? Because Seoul or Kongdoo have already committed to having the Galio in the mid lane. It would be a huge shock to see him go top lane.
He's played a lot of games of Camille.
Yeah.
And by a lot, I mean 5.
I think Camille is the one that makes the most sense here, but you also have Jax, so that one gets taken out. I think Camille is a little bit easier to deal with when it comes to just losing towers left, right, and center. Same with Jace. She's definitely going to try to kill you a lot more and teamfight a lot more than Jax and Jace.
So, still got Camille and Renekton, 2 of Keen's other big picks left on the table. No more bans for Kongdoo Monster. Rek'Sai taken out here towards the end.
So Punch has played a considerable amount of Gragas this entire split. 11, basically almost a little bit over twice as many games of his Sejuani, and no Jarvan. So he instead decides that he needs to add one more champion to his repertoire and takes that pick for himself. But
here in promotions with everything on the line.
Of course, well, you got it.
Decides, hey, it's time to show off my new shiny Jarvan.
You've been playing it a while. You got to make it happen. And if this Kennen comes through, this is not the hopeful pick. You need to go with Camille. It's the only one that makes sense here. So Kennen, Camille Gragas, nothing else would work.
Only Gragas?
Wait a minute.
We got Malrong in the jungle.
Okay.
He's done it before.
They're saying, this is basically saying, we are going to kick your ass.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Taking
quite literally.
is literally saying, we are going to smash you. Because you do not have a very reliable late game here. You need Lee Sin to be on fire. He needs to be going for invades, left, right, and center, controlling Jarvan as much as he can. And when you have Shen to add to the pool of protection to Kog'Maw, this is one guy dealing damage, Valdez. This guy is only Kog'Maw, and every other member can help.
They're just the helpers, you know? As Mr. Rogers said, always look for the helpers.
Is he talking about hamburger helpers? Was he hungry?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And unfortunately, Helper is not in this game. He's subbed out for Keen, but yeah, all the helpers for Kog'Maw for sure. There's 4 of them. Play around Soul, that is the name of the game. Probably be seeing this kind of play, especially with Ardent Sensor and just the way the meta is right now. We'll be seeing it in a lot of these games, but Ever8 decides, we're not going to do exactly that. We're going to mix it up.
Yeah. Ever8 looking for the early game. They need to smash the game as quickly as possible. I'm thinking all tier 1s by 20 minutes should be enough for them to have a strong enough advantage and just crush it. Kongdoo Monster, just survive. That's their only goal. Just hang on. You're playing a mini game to live as long as possible. Do not lose outer turrets at any cost. And what's more difficult for them is that they don't have any kill pressure anymore. You're not going to kill Shen Jarvan or Camille with Shen Jarvan or Talia with that combination. You can only really kill people when Soul is auto-attacking them. That makes for a very one-dimensional composition that only has one win condition.
Yeah. Well, they do have a tremendous amount of engage, but as you said, they have to protect this Kog'Maw, so probably be seeing more of that. See if maybe they can get ahead and somehow set up some Galio moves, but they are on red side. It's not like that blue side, bottom side tower dive or anything like that. But either way, guys, we're going to be jumping into game number 1, Kongdoo Monster versus the Ever8 winners. Here we go. A new set of fans have entered the studio, cheering for their teams. BBQ fans have gone home, as has BBQ.
They've gone home happy.
Yeah. I guess going home can have 2 different meanings. But CJ can't go home because they need to play after this match.
Well, this match is likely to be explosive. I like what Ever is doing here, facing a challenger team. It's clear that they are coming in with confidence, and that goes a long ways when you're playing in these kinds of series. A lot of teams don't play these games to win. It's often playing not to lose. So what Kongdoo needs to be doing is remembering that while their composition needs to scale, that they need to survive, that by no means is a cue for them to be passive. They need to be making moves all across the map, trading objectives. If ever starts putting too much pressure, it is up to Kongdoo to respond by trading, by lane swapping, by doing all they can to keep stacking gold in their power. They can't be content with just giving up small advantages one after the other. Otherwise, Ever is going to take everything as soon as they get the opportunity to do so. So keep our eyes out for proactivity out of Kongdoo Monster, and Ever to have a good early game lead with a lot of kills on the map.
Yeah, my eyes are on the Lee Sin. Malrong would be super sick if he could make just some great plays on blue side Lee Sin and do that carry role. We never really get to see Lee Sin nowadays pretty much at all. And he's going to start off with an invade. He started blue, but already it's low enough for that smite, and there it is. So Malrong sees that, and now he's going to recall.
That was so well played by Punch, though. Pulling the red buff into the brush, checking it himself, making sure that there is as little opportunity as possible, even timing the smite just to make sure that there's no chance of a steal, even though he had almost complete knowledge of what was going on, or at least a hunch, so that he minimizes the chances to let Lee Sin get ahead, and it forces Malrang to base, and at least he comes out with a control ward for all his troubles.
A small reward.
Hey, you'd be surprised.
Vision control.
Because you don't expect somebody to be basing that early, so you're not on the lookout for deep vision this early on. So he can plant that ward, and it might get him more value than what you typically get out of a later timing ward.
You see that check by the bottom side of Kongdoo Monster is a split second too late, because Lee Sin came in right after, not able to spot him taking the Gromp. Lots of vision around that area already for Ever 8 by Ella and Malrang.
And it happens so often that I don't think it's even worth mentioning at this point anymore. This will be the last time we do it. At least that's what I hope. The Targon start on these AD carries when you're laning with a Janna. They're just saying, yep, we're just going to farm it up. We got no business looking for kills. We're more than okay just funneling gold to this champion so that we can get our Ardent Sensor going in. It has just become so common after the Afrika Freaks did it that I think it's just become the norm.
Yeah, it's like the standard now. The meta has changed. For better or for worse. I'm not really a big fan of current Ardent Sensor. I'm more a fan of compositions like Ever 8's, where you get lots of action on the map, split pushing, just outmaneuvering your opponents, rotations, if you will.
You're an action man.
Yeah. As are most fans, I would assume. Ella trying to peel for his AD carry is eating tons of damage. He's going to have to burn something here. There's the heal, and that will get him away, but that's just one summoner already burned before a big fight happens.
Welcome to the Kog'Maw. He can chase you down if you actually overstep. Going for all-ins or engages as Rakan can prove dangerous if you don't time it well with the downtime of Bio-Arcane Barrage, as typically the Kog'Maw will sometimes use it to last hit if the minions aren't properly in place, especially around the cannon minion wave, or if you force a quick little trade, have him go back, then he goes backwards, and then you can look for an all-in that will result in a more favorable trade as he no longer has his main damage-dealing ability.
Duel will remain in the lead after he picks up this entire wave. So just a small misstep by the bottom side, but they're still in an okay position ahead of this Kog'Maw Janna composition.
Sure, you're in the lead, but the Janna Kog'Maw is starting to rack up gold, and when that Ardent Sensor starts coming through, who's going to be there to defend the damage from Kog'Maw? You don't have a tank on the composition. You don't even have anybody that can remotely soak up any auto attack from him at any stage in the game. So Kog'Maw is a big threat to consider for Ever 8. And they need to be making moves on the map. If Malrang hits level 6, that could be the cue that they're looking for. However, when you're Lee against Shen, Stand United is your worst enemy.
Yeah, and he's already hit 6, so good luck trying to take a trade down in that bottom side, or anywhere really, for the near future. Was looking for Malrang to set up a play. He's been relatively passive after failing to steal that red buff with a nice play from Punch, but now he's in here in between the blue and the mid lane, and you can see he's trying to set this up with Edge. Okay, there's that damage. The taunt coming down. He's just going to hop away. But here comes Ella. Now it's 3-on-2. Looks like they'll have to give away this blue buff. There it is. The smite comes in, and Malrang picks it up.
Good denial there on the blue buff. Even though Shen was in position to ultimate, they just had no business going for that fight. Remember that Kongdoo doesn't have a whole lot of engage. They need Ever to dance onto them. Only until Kog'Maw is strong enough to just march as the front line and start dishing out damage can they start fights with a lot more ease.
Yeah, so they will be waiting for that. You can see this bottom turret is getting a bit low. This is kind of what happens when you have Tristana on your team. You just push it in, especially with the super passive lane you're going up against. Just waiting, waiting. Duel and Ella trying to put on as much pressure as possible.
And it's what happens when you're dealing with a Janet. They're never scared of actually getting ganked. Tristana, Rakan, rather, are so slippery that they can just push all the time in every wave. They'll get a little bit of pot chip, so they're going on to Kog now.
Nice dodge on that tornado. Already a bunch of damage coming out. There's that ultimate. Not committing to the kill. Still having barrier and heal. Nice.
Janna is in
hold.
6, and Shen has ultimate. Let's see what they fancy.
Okay, this is spotted, but Kog'Maw does get out.
That should be first brick, though.
Looks like they'll trade it for blue. Play coming in, actually, Sonic Wave gonna miss onto Janna, and so just the turret. See if they hand this gold over to anyone or if it's just split between the three of them. Looks like it will be. Jarvan up in the top side. They do ping this out, so nice respect by Keen, but that top lane turret is not even close to going down.
They only get to walk away with the blue buff and some denial onto Keen. Even though he's full HP, he has to respect not just Jarvan, because he can't get dove by Jarvan and Shen. Okay, he's giving a little too much respect now. Go back in there, Keen.
He's got some time for that cannon, but he's got to make sure he picks that one up. He actually missed it. Oh my God.
He's just worried about the Galio.
Yeah.
Because when Galio has his control ward on the left side of mid, he can buy so much time of being out of vision that you have to respect that. The 3-man is a real possibility, so as long as Galio is off the map, he has to be away from the tower.
Very true. It's cool how you can do that. We oftentimes talk about why vision is so important, but that's like a very real example that happens in a lot of Galio games specifically, so I'm glad you point that out.
And you can do that with any other champion too. So, for instance, let's say you're playing the bottom lane, and you just have complete control, such as how Duel and Ella are doing, and you don't want to pressure for the tower. You want to affect other parts of the map. Instead of looking to hit the turret, what you do is you place a control ward in the side, in a brush on the side, you take control of the river, and you simply push and you go hide in the brush. You don't need to go anywhere else because the other team doesn't see where you're going. You know that you are ready to respond faster than the opposite team, or that you're in a position to go for a play. And so you keep doing that back and forth, and you inadvertently affect the rest of the map with your own lane advantage.
It tricks everybody on the opposite side. I mean, you could be nearby waiting to support your AD carry if, you know, the duo in the bot lane says, okay, this is our shot. Support's gone, let's go for it. But he's not actually gone because they don't have vision. Or that support could be placing deep vision in the blue side, as we saw Ella took that option here. I mean, you got Galio in the mid lane. That's not exactly a guy you're going to be ganking too much, so might as well just go for the vision instead. Also helped out with Lee Sin to make sure that they could deny blue buff, try to get Jarvan behind. And now with all of this vision, you can see double control ward here. Looks like Malrang is going to take this opportunity to go for the Mountain Drake, but it's spotted out by the flag of Punch, who is clearing out the control ward, and so he will give it up for now.
Ever needs to be getting this dragon ASAP. They are ahead early on. The quicker they can start stacking up dragons, the better their mid and late are going to be, especially when you consider that this is a mountain dragon. The implications of this dragon come 20 and 30 minutes are huge. So the sooner they get it, the better it's going to be for them, as this is the time where they can easily get these objectives. Notice how Tristana has pushed Kog'Maw and Janna all the way back to base. This is the window that they're going to need to go for, although it looks like they might be considering a blue buff steal first before they go for the dragon.
Yeah, they got the timing on blue buff. They also could try to pressure bot or mid, and so far it looks like no moves towards the dragon. It looks like Malrong's just going to hang around for blue while the duo does push bot and then rotates. But this does give time for Punch, Soul, and Secret to make their way over. So you take away the blue buff, but now you don't have enough time to go for the dragon. Punch even going in onto Lee Sin with confidence. He had Galio to follow him up right away.
There you can always make the choice, as ever. If you're truly concerned about Kongdoo contesting the dragon, you can just give away... How is his damage? Okay. You can just give away the blue buff. I was going to say, does he really
have 2 damage? Anyway, continue.
Yeah, in there you can give up the blue buff because you can expect Kongdoo to bring multiple members to contest it, and then just rush the dragon and go for that sacrifice. The blue buff isn't doing a whole lot except maintaining the pressure onto the map, as opposed to what this mountain dragon can do.
I would have to agree.
Remember that they'd also base after taking the dragon, which minimizes the effect of the blue buff, since there would be nobody to feel the wrath of it.
The wrath of the blue.
It's back. And weaker than ever.
I mean, this Wrath of the Blue is currently recalling. Yeah, I get the feeling that they're not being as active as they should be right now. You were talking about taking down all the Tier 1 turrets at 20 minutes. They still do have 6.5 minutes, but so far we haven't seen a play out of Septid. We haven't seen a play by Malrong to get really aggressive by the dragon. No ganks up towards top or in the bottom side. And to be fair, Kongdoo has been playing extremely safe, which is something you actually mentioned as one of their win conditions. So I suppose Kongdoo is doing a good job in countering what Ever8 wants to do.
This dragon should be fought.
They got to go in for this one, but it looks like they're giving it up. Talia just backs off, and free Mountain Drake handed over to Kongdoo.
Oh, the early game team giving that up is not a good sign. Herald is at least still an objective that is available for them to take, but losing that Mountain Dragon now gives Kongdoo the opportunity to go for Baron whenever they have the moment to do so. Kongdoo has not hesitated too much around Baron during Challenger Series, so the fact that they get this one means that now this Kog'Maw and 1 damage composition have actual kill threat.
Look at this flash forward by Roach. He wants the kill. There's the wall. Hextech ultimatum. In comes the Jarvan, though, and picks up first blood. Now Septid is low, doesn't have the mana. Malrong getting low as we speak. Septid with that blue buff has enough to push him away. But now we're going to have another play down on the bottom side. Soul with the Stand United. Duel is the target. He wants that Janna, but he doesn't have his Rocket Leap, and that'll be the end of that Janna somehow, some way. Septid, though, does trade back onto Punch.
He gets to use a flash to go for the kill, and before going for Herald, they need to get gold out of this jungle. Stealing the red buff, going for as much as they can, shoving out the lanes. They understand that they are already in trouble. The fact that kills have gone over to Kongdoo, that the mid game is already going so well for them, means that they need to accelerate faster than ever before.
Teleport used here by Roach to save this turret. Nicely done, denying as much gold away from Ever8 as possible. Up in this side. So yeah, Kongdoo actually ahead slightly on gold at this point in time. We're going to take another look at the trade. Keen already getting low, even with minion advantage. Decides he's going to go for the fight, but starts losing.
You got too greedy here, but we get to see what happened on bottom. They go on Secret. Oh, 1 hit away. Classic Unreal. Tristana.
Yeah.
Question mark pings. Why did you shoot her away? You had her.
I can only imagine. imagine the stuff that would be being said in solo queue. There's this flash, just the easy pickup before you could flag and drag.
It's a very necessary pick there for Accepted. On the top lane matchup, that kill should never have gone down. It was so greedy of Keen to try to bully Roach in using his only escape, being at lower HP. He thought maybe he could get him to back off, but it was well recognized from the Shen that he still had the advantage. It doesn't matter if they are aggressive, it's a bluff.
I like how that we have the enemy ward ping now. Get to see it a bit here in professional play. Gives us a better idea about where the teams think the enemy wards are, because we saw a couple out of Ever8. He was actually somewhat correct in terms of that. Spotted out the control ward near mid. The other ping was slightly off.
You know, before pings, we had to do things the old school way. And this goes way more old school than you can imagine. So the new school that wasn't pings before is that you would have your team say danger ping or a specific ping means wards. Yeah. Nobody else uses that ping, and anytime that you use that ping, it means a ward. So you ping, and it locks down the time right away because pings get timed. So then those wards are used specifically for pings, and then you can type up the location of it if you want or if people remember. And the even older way that actually got banned from all professional play is that teams would have a notepad open. Because remember that a lot of people like to play League on windowed mode. And so you'd have a notepad open on the side where you would keep track of every single spell and ability possible. And then you just tab out, quickly type it, tab back in.
It's pretty ridiculous. I don't think that should be allowed, honestly.
Why not?
Well, you gotta alt-tab. It's awkward. It's not really part of the game.
You can still alt-tab in pro play. There's still other programs running.
Just doesn't feel right. I don't know. Because when you say other programs running, like what other programs are we talking about?
Keep track of bugs, flaws with the computer, etc.
But you're not going to be checking those during the game.
No, of course not. But I just mean that typically you can't tab out if you don't have anything else open.
Yeah. So they got other stuff there. Now you just got to do it the old, new-fashioned way.
The most convenient way of all.
Yeah. When League first started, were there pings in the game? You would know this more than
yeah. There's
than
only like one ping.
There was just one ping.
Yeah,
right?
It had no meaning. It's just sound.
There was no danger ping. It was just the blue ping or the red ping. Yeah. I remember that. I started in Season 1.
I preferred that, actually. Because it forced everybody
Less clutter?
No, it forced everybody to pay attention. So if there's a ping going, then you're like, what's going on? What's going on? You're aware of your surroundings. Oh, what could it be? And then you get smarter that way. Whereas now it's like, oh, danger. And then you miss ping and say question mark instead of danger. They're like, oh, what could it be? Oh, I meant danger. You're dead.
Yeah. Or they're like, why are you questioning me? I didn't do anything. You suck.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
Look at that. That was fantastic. Will they be able to pick up the kill, though, is the real question. They need vision. There it is, the Jarvan coming in. And that is one dead Talia. Not the start-off game Ever8 was looking for. Kongdoo, very tempered play. Passive in the beginning, but slowly coming together as a team.
It's a 5-man death squad. They roam together. As long as Kog'Maw is with them, they feel confident that they'll be able to pick apart Ever8. And whatever needs to do is just control the side lanes. As long as they have control of minion waves, it will force Kongdoo to react to them. But now they're using Shen to get Tristana.
They got that taunt down, but the blast away means that Duel, especially without mana, is going to have a really hard time living when it's 5v1.
How do 5 people get in here? What is Ever doing? Okay, they're looking for mid lane turret, but another teleport comes in to save the tower.
He just really wanted to take down top turret, and he didn't have any vision on Galio coming in, didn't respect the Stand United, and, well, he's going to get punished for it. He didn't even have mana to jump away. Not even sure if that would have helped him.
No, he was dead, but to allow 2 5-man rotations and not capitalize on anything is a little too much. Ever's proactivity is not there to match the composition that they have picked for themselves. Yeah. This is one where invades need to be happening 24/7. Lee Sin needs to be living in the jungle at all times, but missed the opportunity at the red buff, had gone for wolves instead of straight from blue to red. And as a result, he hasn't done anything in 22 minutes.
Even after all the shenanigans, bot lane was even pushing towards Ever. They weren't able to deal with this. Finally, Camille goes down there to push that back. Still the mid and the top turret do remain standing, although they are very weak. And I feel like Malrong is another one of these players, a lot like Ghost, where he's very young, right? He's just coming into LCK. He's inexperienced. He's still dealing with nerve issues. And there are games where he pops off, especially when he gets an early first kill. He just like totally owns the Rift. And then there are games where he doesn't do anything. Stuff fails, right? He goes for a blue buff. He's pushed away from the dragon. He doesn't have a big impact. His team is like, okay, come on, Malrong, get in there. But he can't. He feels bad about it. I feel like we have a similar situation for this young player in the jungle.
Well, the thing is they weren't set up for success. The Lee Sin pick is so risky. It truly commits you to succeeding early, but in such an overwhelming way that it's incredibly difficult to achieve with consistency. And this is just one of those games where that consistency was not there. The lanes were too difficult for Ever to find anything in. The jungle route from Punch was effective. Malrang couldn't find anything to work for them. And now Lee Sin is going to be negligible when it comes to this team fights. He's going to have to play out of his mind to be able to kick Kog'Maw into the team. Whereas if you had a Gragas, you could actually have a much better chance at getting Kog'Maw displaced, to keep him at bay, to make plays happen. And if the early game had gone the exact same way, Ever would be in a much better position.
We're going to have to see literally, quite literally, the God Fist Lee Sin on the Rift. And I don't know if Malrong is equipped to pull off those plays.
He has done it before.
I hope I can be corrected.
He has done it.
Yeah. I hope he comes out and does some crazy stuff. So far, he's sitting at 0-0-0, leaving us all blind. Nobody wants to watch this.
Jeez.
Another dragon going over to Kongdoo. Sorry, I don't mean, I don't want to be too mean.
Go ahead, dig yourself out of that one.
He seems like a good guy. I don't know. He's got some work to do.
You know, you'd be a great girl to friend zone people. Ah, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. He's just not my type, you know?
Good guy, though.
Jarvan can attack that over the wall?
Now we know.
He gets the extra range, right, from his passive?
Well, he's just has a natural range.
So that he
like
it doesn't give extra range?
Spears have longer range, typically. So I think Xin Zhao has a longer range than, say, a Galio. Same with Jarvan.
So I guess you can actually attack that over the wall?
Seems that way. Cho'Gath can attack buffs with enough size over walls.
I guess so. Jarvan is pretty big. He's tall. I guess he can reach over the cliff. And he does have the spear you were talking about. So, well, liking the position here for Kongdoo. I mean, we've been talking about stuff that Ever8 isn't doing, but so far Sol is sitting at 1-0-2, 3 items already. Knight's Vow on the Jarvan. The Shen is doing really well himself. Nice split pushing build.
They're more than okay with this. They're up 2 dragons to 0. Next dragon is Mountain. If they can secure the next one, taking Baron is going to be an absolute breeze. Shen is holding his own against Camille quite easily. So as long as they continue to do this, their win conditions are slowly coming together. So patience is paying off. There's no need to be drastic. And it's even more apparent when we have gotten to see them grouped up as 5 before making any play. They've just always been together. No need to separate. They recognize that Kog'Maw is the most important champion in this composition. Typically, a lot of Korean teams will give champions assigned numbers of value. So if you have 5 members on the team, you give each member a 1. But if somebody's incredibly important to a composition, you give them 2, maybe a 3, etc. And right now, everyone on Kongdoo is a 1, with Seoul being about a 5.
Huh. It's got to feel nice. Remember when we were saying ADC in 2017, lol?
Yeah.
How chimes have changed, man.
Their mid lane, their jungle again, now with Ezreal jungle.
Yeah, now it's ADC in 2017 PogChamp. It's totally different.
They just like to
how did it change so quickly? Well, things are actually changing in this game as Baron is being taken down here by Kongdoo. Seems like Ever8 has sniffed this one out.
Yes,
already the wall coming
it.
out. Oh boy, but look at that engage. There is the Stand United. Ella just desperately trying to get away. The quickness even used to escape.
They have to go back to a Camila split pushing, but she doesn't have a TP ward here.
Yeah, nothing. They've got to set one down. Let's see if Malrang does it. He's trying to deny some vision. There is one ward. Oh boy, look at Scepted. It's going to be all up to Malrang. There's the kick. They stopped DPS. Smartly done here by Kongdoo. Looks like Roach should be able to push him away. Here comes Edge as well to help out. He's trying to be a hero, but he cannot. There it is. Balrog will live. Keen in the end of the day does take out one turret, but that is the Baron. More importantly, going over to Kongdoo.
They do not have a chance if they're grouped up as 5, and Kongdoo know it. Such a wise play to move towards the Baron right now. Sure, it might be slightly early. You'd imagine that they could have waited a bit longer to do it, but with the results coming the way they did, and with the idea that was to turn and not to finish it, the play is the right move. Oh boy, and look at Soul's build. I love this already.
What the hell?
Because instead of going with Infinity Edge and Blade of the Rune King, you go with the tankiest build of them all, the Wit's End. That makes you harder to kill. And now a Randuin. Do you know how hard it is to kill a Kog'Maw that is basically tank Kog'Maw?
The majority of the damage on the side of Ever8 is physical. Scepted alone is going to have to kill Kog'Maw. I mean, obviously you can break through the Randuins, but it makes it so much harder to do so with physical.
Well, and you saw just how much damage Roach was doing, too. He's pretty strong with that Titanic Hydra.
Yeah. Shen always does surprisingly high amounts of damage with this split push. And, ooh, Keen, he is a little bit out of position here. See if he can make it out of this one. The immediate flash in is going to do it. He uses his Hectex ultimatum, but he gets picked out of that hook shot. And down he does go. Another pick from a side lane by Kongdoo Monster.
It does not feel like Ever is present in this game at all. It has been a one-sided affair non-stop. Every play gets answered by silence on the side of Ever, and once again, Kongdoo just takes whatever they want. Their composition has come online. They had suffered nothing of the early game, and now it's just an easy walk to a game 1.
Yeah, Kongdoo looking very much in control. It was a slow game here at 30 minutes, only 6 kills, but they did it correctly for Kongdoo. They played it passive early. They looked for picks as 5. And it's like Ever8 just kind of stood there and took it. Not a good showing here in game number 1. I'm sure all the other teams are looking at this, even CJ, and saying, well, man, we could defeat Ever8 at this point if they're going to play like this.
Yeah, it's still a game 1, so just how BBQ lost that game 1 and bounced back in 2 games in a row, we have to give them an absolute benefit of the doubt. They are the LCK team, but this has been leaving us with so much to be desired. Aggression, different draft, looking for any sort of play in response to what Kongdoo is doing, lack of objective control in every aspect of the word, and now they can't even defend this mid lane tower. They're not in position to do so, and it looks like the inhibitor is just going to be Kongdoo's to take.
I want to see Malrang at least try once. Like, we got to see him try one time.
Thing is, you can't. You have Galio with 2 abilities that can mess you up. You have Janna with 2 abilities that can mess you up. And realistically, if you kick Kog'Maw into the team, I don't think you can actually kill him. You have damage reduction. Here we go, actually.
Okay, they do get Kog'Maw in the back. That damage is coming out from the side of Duel, but look at him go down immediately. Everything keeps him alive. That's a double kill for Kog'Maw. Make it 3 for the side of Kongdoo. And it looks like they're going to try to end the game off of this push.
They can very easily do so. That's a Baron inhibitor, Baron minion being empowered. Kog'Maw with the red buff. Tons of damage in game 1. Easily taken by Kongdoo.
So there you go. Looks like that is going to do it for game number 1. Rhodes might feed them a kill. Looks like he will. And Malrong will not end the game at 0-0-0 at least.
Consolation prize, question mark?
Yeah, I guess so. At least it wasn't a perfect game. As Kongdoo Monster looking like the stronger team. Whoa! Camera going wild. Getting excited about Kongdoo over here.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot to learn from this one, really. It just felt like, hey, we survived the early game. We did what we came here to do. And it worked. And Ever just pulled out Old Reliable, the revolver that worked about 3 months ago. Wow. Unfortunately, times have changed. Old Reliable jammed. Doesn't work these days.
Old Reliable, he's lost his vision.
That's Lee Sin. Old Reliable is no longer viable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see Malrong on something else, but before we even get to game number 2, guys, we are gonna take another 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll see if Ever 8 can bring it back and try to tie it up against Kongdoo Monster.